I'm Leonard Slatkin, and I'm here in Nashville as a guest conductor with the Nashville Symphony. I've had the pleasure of working with this orchestra now for pretty consistently 20 years, ever since the opening of Schermerhorn Hall. After I finished in my residency and helping them through that difficult period, I saw them pretty much every other year. 2 years ago, I was here and I remarked at a dinner that I was going to be 80 years old coming up 2 seasons from them. And kindly, they asked me to come back to make sure I showed up at this incredible number that is difficult when the one on the left changes. So this is in a way a celebration, but in another way it's just another wonderful program, very typical of what the Nashville Symphony does, with something new and something familiar. I come from a long line of musicians in my family, so the collaborative process between me and an orchestra comes from that history. I respect orchestra musicians to the highest degree, and when I conduct, I actually think I'm just another musician on the stage. But similar to, say, the manager of a sports team, my job is basically that somebody has to say, this is how it goes. So I will inject my opinions. Most orchestras will tell you that they rather enjoy playing with me because I let them play. But that is the collaborative process. At a rehearsal, the first one, I'll play through a piece of music to see where is the orchestra in this piece. Where do they need some help and guidance from me? And where are they shining collectively as a group and as individuals in their solo material? And I use the first rehearsal to get an idea of how we're going to shape the whole performance. Many times I'll do something and I'll go, you know, the orchestra's idea is a better one than I had, and I'll just go with it. So it's constantly in flux, it's constantly flexible. And that's what makes it wonderful to be a conductor, for me anyhow, that I'm not so locked into one way that I'm not always listening to what the orchestra does. The bookend pieces are by two of the masters in all of music. Gioacchino Rossini with his Overture to La Gazza, Ladra. Many people will remember this from the film A Clockwork Orange. Rossini did not write it for the movie, but it had a memorable stint in a rather difficult passage to look at in the film. I can't tell you anything about the opera. I don't know an aria from it. I don't even know the story of this opera. Like everybody else, I just know the overture and love it. And it is bookended on the second side by Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony. Each piece on this program has one or two things which, as listeners, you can latch on to. In the case of the Overture by Rossini, there's one that's not only audible, but it's visual. Rossini calls for 2 drums, and we place one on the left side and one on the right. The first one will start with a roll, almost like the national anthem is going to take place, and then the other drum answers with the same roll. And those 2 drummers are going to play back and forth throughout the course of the overture. So not only listen, but watch for that in the overture. In the cello concerto, I think the key thing is to feel the idea of Baroque music as represented by Vivaldi and his 4 Seasons, in combination with original music being produced by the composer Mark Adamo. So try to feel these 2 worlds going back and forth, and how do they match? Tchaikovsky is really a matter of understanding the big structure. This piece is about 50 minutes long, approximately. Listen in particular for the rich sonorities that the strings produce, but also the solo material, particularly in the horn and in the oboe as this goes on. There's also some really nifty brass writing. Many of my colleagues have certain rituals that they perform before they go on stage. For some, it's poring over the scores that they're about to conduct. For some others, it could be pacing around in the room, even backstage. For me, I kind of prefer to be separated from the music so it can be fresh from the moment when I walk on the stage.